Pretty eyes, pretty thighs, shawty, she a dime. Demon girl, evil eyes, she be telling lies. Slim waist.
So you're a major supporter of GMOs and golden rice. So why are GMOs beneficial to the human body, and is it healthier than organic food?
Oh, now you're getting into some more interesting territory.
Mm-hmm.
I think, one of the things that has happened is that when GMOs were first invented, or this method of modifying and making better plants was
Mm-hmm.
first, I should say, discovered rather than invented. It was discovered by a couple of people in Belgium, Mark van Montague and Jeff Shell, and also simultaneously by Mary Del Chilton in the US. And what they discovered was that there was a bacterium called Agrobacterium tumefaciens that basically was able to transfer DNA from itself, from a plasmid, a small piece of circular DNA that it normally carried with it. It was able to transfer that plasmid into a plant. And so in this way, it was able to transfer genes that were bacterial into a
Mm-hmm.
plant. And what Mark van Montague and Jeff Shell realized was that, well, maybe instead of the bacterium putting its own genes into the plant, maybe if we modified the bacterium a little bit and put a new gene in there, maybe the
Mm-hmm.
bacterium would transfer the new gene into the plant. And lo and behold, it did. And so this was the first opportunity to use a natural process to transfer a gene that we wanted the bacterium to put into the plant rather than the one that the bacterium was trying to do. And so it was immediately obvious that if you could apply this to a large number of different plants, that you could greatly improve them. You could improve their nutrition, you could improve the growth, just many ways in which you could potentially change a plant in order to make it to produce more things, or maybe grow taller, grow smaller, put more corns on a cob, or whatever. But whatever you wanted to do, here was a way of persuading us to do what we wanted to do, but in quite
Mm-hmm.
a precise fashion, not the way that the plant breeders typically do it, which is by taking two plants that are different, one, but that can crossbreed, but that they're different in their characteristics, and transferring a trait that one plant had into the plant that you wanted to grow taller, say. And so that's a very imprecise process, and it's slow. It really isn't a very, very clever process.
Mm-hmm.
The GMO process, this one that Mark and Jeff came up with, this is a very precise way of making changes in a plant. And it seemed to everybody, all the scientists at least who saw it, that this was a good thing to do. And so a lot of people started doing it, including some plant companies. And one company in particular, Monsanto, came up with some various improvements in plants. And they tried to introduce the improved plants into Europe. And the Europeans got very upset by this because they were not happy that Europeans were buying, or farmers were forced to buy all their food and their plants and seeds and so on from America, that America was really holding and looking out at their food industry and taking over the food industry. And the Europeans didn't like that. They wanted to be in control of their own. But they couldn't sort of have a ban on Monsanto because they depended upon them for all. And so when Monsanto first made a GMO plant and tried to move it into Europe, the Green parties, and in particular Greenpeace, decided here was the opportunity to really go after the American plant growers. And so they said, well, we don't know whether these GMO plants are safe or not. Perhaps they're dangerous. You put a new gene into them. Maybe you've made them very dangerous. And so they used this to scare people in Europe. They therefore got the politicians to ban GMO foods. And it was really to try to stop Monsanto. This was what it was all about. And it's that to be a wonderful fundraising opportunity for Greenpeace, because a lot of people gave them money to stop these GMOs going into Europe. And so they doubled down and made things sound even worse. They call them Frankenfoods, with the idea of getting people scared because of the reference to Frankenstein. So anyway, that's really where the opposition to GM foods came from. It had nothing to do with whether they were better than traditional plants, whether they were the same, whether they worse. There was just nothing about it. It was just wanted to scare people, and that succeeded. Fortunately, one of the big problems is as soon as you get people scared, it's very difficult to reassure them and say it's okay, you know, it's actually quite safe. Even though now, some 30 odd years later, all of the science says that GMO foods are safe, if not safer, than traditionally bred plants. There's absolutely nothing that one should worry about as far as GMO foods are concerned. The plants are safe, they grow well. The method by which you make something is not really important. It's the product that is important. Is the product good? Is it safe? Does it taste good? Well, if it does, then it's fine.